Hello, and welcome to another E3 analysis video. If you were wondering where last year's was, it ran into technical difficulties and was never released. I apologise for this. I'm going to be talking about Nintendo's E3 this year and how they fares. So first up, the Zelda 25th anniversary. Now what they're doing for the Zelda 25th anniversary is interesting to say the least. They are releasing 4 Zelda games within the year, 2 of which you already know about. The first one being the Ocarina of Time remake for 3DS. I still haven't got a 3DS, but whether I get Ocarina of Time on the 3DS is another matter. The next game that convinced me to get it though is Link's Awakening, which I haven't played on the original Game Boy, and so it would be a good idea to get on the new 3DS when on that virtual console system when that comes out. So that was the first protocol that made me decide to get a 3DS, but I thought let's wait until we get some more games announced before I'll decide whether to get a 3DS or not. The next thing they showed off was 4 swords on the DSi, which is a shame because I only have an original DS and haven't been bothered to get a DSi because I didn't see the point in upgrading, to be honest. I know it has a camera, but I'll be getting that on the 3DS if I get one anyway, so it shouldn't matter too much. Then the last announcement was for Skyward Sword, which is going to be coming this year. A Zelda game this year? Count me in. And it looks absolutely amazing too. If you see the trailers on YouTube, then you'll be able to see how good it looks. And it should be one I should get later in the year, if I find the time to play it, that is. Which I should hopefully do, but it's a busy year for me this year. I've got my last year of university, so therefore that's going to be quite busy for me. And so, to round it off, they also had an orchestra playing the Zelda music in the conference hall, and you can get a CD in commemoration of this when you buy Skyward Sword, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping to be able to get that, unless it's in Unclub Nintendo, in which case I probably won't be able to, as we prefer to spend our star points on Wii points. But nevertheless, it's something interesting, and you also get an Ocarina of Time soundtrack CD online. Now, these dates were for release in America, but hopefully they'll be for this year too in England. As you can tell, I'm British from my accent. Next then, Satoru Iwata, president of Nintendo, came on stage to give a teaser about the new console. He said it was designed to appeal to everyone. Unfortunately, from the experience of the Wii, we know that is impossible, as hardcore gamers only want a console that's suitable for themselves. Therefore, trying to get that balance is going to be very tricky, and they decided to leave everyone on a cliffhanger as to what the console would do until later on in the presentation, and then they moved on to the Nintendo 3DS. And so the originator came on stage to introduce the 3DS titles, and from the 5 teasers there was some pretty good stuff coming to the Nintendo 3DS, and I thought, yeah, this console will be for me. And these were the following games that he talked about. So, Mario Kart 3DS, we all knew it was coming from last year, but I don't think we knew what to expect from it. All we saw were teaser screenshots, but now we have much more information on the game. The game will include hang gliders, leading some people to name it Chitty Chitty Mario Karts after the popular film. And then I'm not sure whether this is a good addition to Mario Kart or not, because it doesn't look like it's suited best, because you see hang gliders going across the stage, but I just think it's a bit pointless, to be honest. Underwater though is a good step. Having the game go underwater leads to much more imagination and tracks, and you don't know what's coming next. Good addition in my books. And now kart customization is something I did not expect from the game. But even then, it looks a bit limited at the moment, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out if it's quite limited like that. So you can only change 3 things, unless you can unlock more stuff to change later on, which would be good in my books. Reminds me of Lego Racers when I got to build all my own cars. But anyway, now I know what some people think of the recent Mario Kart games, but I've enjoyed them very much, and I'm looking forward to playing this game very much. So, and apparently it's going to be out this year, which is excellent. I was hoping it would be out then, and so we will have a new Mario Kart game for 3DS. Well, that's the first step to convincing me to get a 3DS. There was no trailer for Star Fox 64 3D, but it has some interesting features, and it's a game I was interested in getting since I didn't play the original Lilac Wars on N64. The most interesting feature seems to be the ability to use the camera in place of your fighter, which is a very interesting feature. And you can also use the gyro sensors to move, which I'm not quite sure about. I'll probably just use the buttons for it. But the game's looking good, and I'll be getting that as well. But hopefully I have enough money to get all this stuff. Either I have to pay for the 3DS still. Next up, Super Mario 3D. Now, this looks like an interesting game. It seems to be designed with 3DS in mind, so it will use the 3D capabilities of the console to provide a greater depth of field. You can see in the trailer that some Goombas are flat, and you could use the 3DS to tell whether they're flat or not. And also, the Tannoy suit is back. Good retro feel for that Mario game then. Now, I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to be getting this or not. It'll depend on the time on what other games I'll be getting, but at the moment this is a bit low priority on me. But oh well, I suppose I'll probably find some time to get it anyway. Next up, we had a new Kid Icarus trailer. One of the surprises of last year's E3. Looks great, but the voice acting is still very cheesy. I have a feeling that it may end up being the weakest of Nintendo's big 5 for this upcoming period, but nevertheless, we'll see how everything turns out and see how that game performs. And they've included 4-player co-op, no, 3-player co-op, which would be 3-player multiplayer anyway, so you can battle against your friends. And it also supports AR cards, which will be out around the time of the game's release. Undecided on this one, to be honest. It was a big surprise, but it's not quite sure if I'm going to be getting it or not, so depends really. I'll see about it. I'll pass for now, but see you later. And finally, Luigi's Mansion 2, the big surprise of the E3 conference this year. No one saw it coming, and perhaps we should have all done after the comments about Luigi's Mansion originally being designed for 3D. But anyway, this looks good. It looks very similar to the original game, but the original game was a good game, just very short. Apparently this one will be longer because it has more mansions, so I assume by the title it has 2. Joke aside, looking a very good game, and apparently it's not due until next year over here, so that is a bit of a shame really, but we'll see how everything goes, and hopefully I'll be able to get it. And that was the end of the 3DS section. Now we move on to Nintendo's new console. Also, the new Tekken game was announced. A Tekken will be on a Nintendo console for the first time, proving that the 3DS is being widely supported. It seems to have a lot of beat 'em ups at the moment. Finally, Nintendo unveiled their new console, the Wii U. To much confusion because, to be honest, everyone thought it was a new peripheral for the Wii and groaned about it. But it didn't seem to be very clear it was a new console, but having looked on hands-on afterwards, it is clear that it is a new console and it supports HD graphics at time. And from the demo, from one demo in particular, it proves that the console would be a very powerful gaming machine. But they are also keen to keep their casual audience, it seems, with the new console. The controller is something very interesting because it's a bit like an iPad with buttons, and it works very well. It also allows you to play the game away from the television screen when you're on the go, but it generates the images by the console, so it's not a handheld. So the big demo that most impressed me was the Zelda tech demo. Basically, this is only a tech demo, but people are getting excited about a new HD Zelda game. And I must admit, Zelda does look very good in HD, so let's hope they consider the reaction. Or this may be a repeat of the fiasco in the GameCube era, when there was a new Zelda tech demo and everyone thought it would be a new Zelda game, only to be disappointed when the Wind Waker was revealed in a completely different style to what everyone was used to. But there was also a big announcement that there will be a new Smash Brothers game for both 3DS and Wii U, which was an extraordinary announcement. Everyone was debating which console it would be best used on, or we get it on both. Now, Smash Brothers is good enough reason to get a 3DS in my opinion, and though it won't be out until the Wii U's out at the same time, which isn't for a while. But the console is being supported by some pretty big titles, like some of the big games on other consoles, like Batman Arkham City and Darksiders 2, are appearing on the Wii U several months after they are due to be released. So whether that will affect sales or not, the third parties are going to have to come up with some special content if they want to convince people to buy the 3DS for the Wii U version. But the console itself has much potential in it. Sorry for stumbling over my words there. You can use it to interact with the TV, and it has a camera on it, so thereby you can use it as a more precise aiming device. You can use it as a slider, and for example, in one demo you could use a shuriken on trees by swiping over them. Now, the console is in a very early stage of development at the moment, but what we have here is a potentially great console for Nintendo, though unfortunately there are a few people who will moan about it. But fortunately, Nintendo's confidence on that part wasn't that good, to be honest, and they came joint second with Sony, with Ubisoft winning the conference in my opinion. So, and that concludes this year's E3. I'll be back with another video next year when I'll give reactions to next year's E3. Thank you for watching this video. Ta-ra!